Ah, traveler, it's always good to see you. I have a tale, if you have time to listen.
The graveyard doesn't just kill you. It tests what you're willing to do for one more minute of living. Chapter 9. Hollow Lantern. Rodney tightened his grip on the sword and headed deeper into the graveyard. Rodney pushed deeper into the graveyard until the path split into 4 narrow roads, each one swallowed by fog thick enough to chew. The air felt heavier here, colder, like the world was holding its breath. And in the very center of the crossroads, someone was crouched. A man, or what was left of one, hunched low with his arms wrapped around his knees, rocking back and forth. His hair hung in greasy ropes over his face, and his clothes were little more than shredded rags clinging to sickly, sunken skin. He whispered to himself in a thin, papery voice, "No need to run. No need to fear. The lantern keeps the dark away. Warmth. Warm warmth. Just sit by the glow, yes. Yes. Sit and wait." Rodney blinked. Buddy, there's no lantern here." The hollowed man didn't look up, didn't pause. His fingers twitched, scraping at the dirt. "It's right there, bright as the gods, warm as a mother's touch. You don't see it? Ha, ha. Oh, you're already slipping, aren't you? Yes, yes, slipping just like me." Rodney took a step back. "Okay, cool, great talk." A shift in the fog, a scrape of bone on stone. Rodney turned toward the sound, then another noise flared behind him. He spun again, then again. Shapes were sliding out of the mist from every side, slow and inevitable, tightening around him like a noose. His stomach dropped straight through his boots. Seriously? Now? 4 shapes slid out of the mist, silent except for the rasp of bone dragging against stone. 4 zombies, more intact than the others he'd fought, moving with disturbing coordination. And each one had something useful, something tempting, something he desperately needed. The first held a long sword and a battered but serviceable iron shield. The second staggered forward, wearing a torn chainmail shirt, rusted but intact enough to save his ribs. The third dragged its feet beneath a pair of decent greaves strapped tight with fraying leather. And the fourth flexed its hands, wearing padded leather gauntlets with metal plates sewn into the knuckles, the kind of gear that would keep him from losing fingers in close combat. The hollowed NPC didn't react, didn't even flinch. He just kept rocking. Safe in the lantern's glow, safe in the warm light. Don't stray. Don't stray. Rodney swallowed. "You've got to be kidding me." The 4 zombies moved closer, tightening the circle around him, cutting off every escape. Hungry, focused, silent. Rodney knew exactly what the smart move was. Run. Get out. Live another 5 minutes. But the loot. God, the loot. He tightened his aching fingers around the sword handle, pulse thudding in his ears. "All right," he muttered, forcing the tremor out of his voice. "Guess we're doing this." The hollowed man giggled softly. "Yes, yes, that's it. The dark is always hungry." And then the zombies lunged. Rodney backed away from the zombie with the sword and shield, heart jackhammering in his chest. No way was he taking that thing head on. He pivoted hard and darted around the one behind him, the one with the greaves. Its claws scraped across his back as he slipped past, sharp enough to tear fabric and skin, but not deep enough to drag him down. He hit the ground in a rough shoulder roll and came up swinging, his blade carving a ragged line across the Grieve zombie's spine. It lurched forward with a wet grunt, and the sword and shield zombie barreled straight into it. The two collided like sacks of rotten meat, arms flailing, jaws snapping. They weren't smart enough to stop hacking at whatever was closest, and the armored one's sword dug deep into its stumbling friend's torso. They tangled themselves into their own miniature war. "Yeah, fight each other, idiots," Rodney muttered, breath ragged. The other two were closing from the sides now, tighter, coordinated, cutting off the gaps. His only shot was the one wearing the gauntlets. Rodney lunged at it. He kicked its knee to stagger it, then slashed across its face. The blade carved through both eyes, bursting them like overripe grapes. The zombie shrieked, reeling blindly, and he followed up with a brutal cut across the arm, nearly severing it. That's when he felt hands, bone dry, cold, impossibly strong, clamp onto his shoulders. Terror hit him like a punch to the lungs, too fast, too damn fast. He twisted his head just in time to see the aftermath of the zombie brawl. One lay twitching on the ground, already collapsing into stillness. And the other, the one with the sword, was coming straight at him. Pinned. No leverage. No escape. Rodney heaved backward, trying to rip free from the fingers locked around him. He barely moved an inch. The blade came down. Agony flared white-hot as his arm went numb, the sword biting so deep his hand nearly dropped off his body. The zombie holding him spasmed from the force of the blow, and its grip loosened. Just enough. Rodney tore himself free on sheer panic. He didn't scream, didn't breathe, just lashed out blindly behind him, the sword catching one of them across the hand. Fingers flew off into the fog. He staggered, rolled, and gained a few precious feet of breathing room. His arm dangled, useless and slick with blood. It felt like it might tear off if he moved it wrong. Panic surged up his throat, hot and choking. Not now, he told himself. Freak out later, if you live that long. The blind one wandered aimlessly near the muttering, hollowed man, who still rocked back and forth, whispering about a lantern that didn't exist. The other two, the dangerous two, were already turning toward him again. Rodney braced himself, sword trembling in his good hand. Time to finish this, or die again. The zombie came at him fast, faster than he could dodge, its three-fingered claws reaching and its rotting jaw stretching wide. Rodney did the only thing he could think of. He turned his ruined arm toward it, offering the part of him that was already mangled beyond healing. The pain was blinding, white-hot, instant, all-consuming. He used that pain like fuel. With a hoarse, ragged roar, he shoved his sword straight through the zombie's skull. The point burst out the back of its cranium in a spray of dark rot. The grip on his deadened arm loosened, and Rodney ripped the blade free just as the corpse went limp. He barely had time to exhale. The shield slammed into his face with the force of a battering ram. His vision exploded into stars as he spun sideways, his body hitting the ground hard enough to knock every thought out of his skull. The world went black for a heartbeat, maybe longer. Then a burning stab of agony in his stomach yanked him back. Rodney screamed as the sword drove into him from above, pinning him to the dirt like a bug. His eyes flew open, bloodshot, wild, and he grabbed at the blade with his free hand, swinging his short sword weakly at the zombie's legs. The cuts landed, shallow, frantic, useless. The zombie didn't even flinch. It only raised its weapon for another strike. No, no, no! Rodney kicked out, desperate, his boot connected square with the creature's knees. Crack. Both joints snapped inward with a sick, splintering sound. The zombie toppled backwards, shrieking as its legs folded underneath it like wet twigs. Rodney scrambled up, half crawling, half falling onto it. He brought the short sword down again and again, sobbing with pain and fury. Die! Just die! Please die! Wet, ragged stabbing sounds filled the crossroads until the zombie finally stopped thrashing. Rodney sagged forward, gasping. He looked up, visions swimming. Only the blind one remained. He staggered to his feet, or tried to. His legs trembled violently, barely able to hold him. When he looked down, he finally saw the truth. His arm was gone, ripped clean off. Blood pooled at his feet in a spreading, ugly, dark stain. No. No, no, no! The blind zombie stumbled close enough for him to reach. Rodney, shaking and furious, swung the sword in a clean arc and took its head off in one blow. Warm energy flooded him instantly, stronger than before. It poured into his core, swirling through his chest and spine like sunlight forced down his throat. He blinked hard, praying his arm would grow back, praying the wounds would vanish. But nothing changed. The blood kept dripping. His knees kept shaking. He was dying. Next time. And then Rodney sees it. A golden lantern, where Frank was huddled. A light that feels warm and different. What does this madman know?
Wasn't that interesting? Now don't forget to subscribe for more.
And ring the bell for your server.